natural light worker, and my business is paranormal extraction, and I also am an interviewer. I am sitting here today with Dee, and I'm just going to speak a little bit about him. He has been an actor, a musician, a fine artist, and amongst many other things. And I have listened to a couple of his songs, and he's opened for some big bands. A couple of them, which ones were those?
Well, the band opened for a sold-out show at Lawler Event Center to Kansas in America.
Kansas in
We've
America.
opened for Ariel Speedwagon, War,
Wow.
Fabulous Thunderbirds, Starship, Johnny Winter.
This is just amazing. I mean, I've listened to
Absolutely.
your voice, and it's just, his voice is absolutely incredible.
Very blessed.
So I believe that he's a credible witness. I have sat with him several times and had this discussion, and he has agreed to come on here. Thank you. I really, really appreciate this because most people don't, and I love it when they tell their stories. So we're going to be speaking about, and I titled it, the UFO Underground Military Base. Okay. So tell your story. I'm
Well, this
fascinated by this story.
This adventure started when I was living in a certain valley in California. So one night I was elder gliding at some function, and I was flying around with this guy, and I saw this. It looked to me like a man-made lion in the mountain, like so well done that I was.
After you were ultra gliding,
Yeah,
so when
well-
you were doing that, you found some really cool stuff you wanted to go look at?
I was going to go there. I went there the next day because of it.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Because I was into that kind of thing insanely already. Okay, that type of thing.
Right.
So I went hiking. I took my dog Jessie, and I was dropped off later in the evening. And Jessie and I were hiking around in these mountains that borders a man-made lake there in this valley. And we're hiking along.
Just having some fun.
Hiking along, not knowing what I was even out there for. Okay, I have no idea. I just wanted to be there for some esoterical, spacey, whatever reason,
Yeah, just
whatever drawn
Peace
to it.
of
I was drawn
mind,
to
or
it.
just
Yeah, felt drawn
Yeah.
to it. So I'm hiking there for about an hour or whatever, climbing over rocks with Jess, and a craft comes over our head, flies right over our head. Very silent craft, dark on the bottom. Couldn't see any
the
actual
craft.
a very large craft too. I would say at least.
What type of craft was it? Like,
Good question. Very, very little light, silent, moving very slow, passed over our heads. So I'm like, wow, what the hell is that? So I was kind of like, that was really cool.
Did you think it was a UFO at that time? Did you think?
Well, it was UFO to me because I've never seen anything, so it was unidentified to me.
Right.
I
Okay.
had
So
no concept of what it was.
because you didn't know it was what it was, you considered it possibly a UFO.
It's clearly.
Wow.
Clearly. So,
Wow.
a few minutes later, not exactly sure time-wise, the craft flies over our head again. This time I'm prepared with my flashlight. Okay, so I'm doing some makeshift Morse code, just flicking it at this craft.
Well, yeah, of course you want to see it. You want to see if you can see it with the flashlight too, if you're looking up, right?
Yeah, more or less, yeah, that, but more or less for some reason I wanted to communicate with it.
Right.
That was me.
Oh,
Here
so,
I am.
Right, here you
How you
are,
doing? Yeah.
and I'm sitting here, and I want you to know I'm here.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah, big mistake. So I continued walking. I couldn't follow it around the valley.
gosh.
I really lost track of where it went. And so a few minutes later, like maybe not even 5 minutes later, the Air Force Base, which is very, very right on the outskirts of this city I was living in, the alarm goes off. And it's a loud alarm. It was so loud that it consumed the whole valley with boom.
Did it ever do this before? Have you ever heard this? And the
Not the whole
military
time I
base
was
is
there.
pretty far away from this.
And the whole time I bear it. I mean, it's a few miles over there, but
Okay.
this alarm was going off.
All right.
I immediately thought I was a dead man. Or whatever kind of crosses through your mind. I'm in trouble. I did that. That was me. The reason that alarm's going off,
Oh.
I never heard before, is because of my flashing the flashlight at it. couldn't figure out
Because you
why that
figured
would be.
that the craft possibly could have come from the military base.
Why not? It's the only way it makes sense.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then you hear this weird alarm, you never
Mhm.
heard it before, you've lived there for a long time,
Sure. So
so,
I continue on the walk. And after that, I'm just contemplating what the heck's going on. So Jesse's patiently walking alongside of me. It's getting very dark by now. And we ended up going up to the end of this mountain range, or this little hilly mountainous range. And I surveyed it. Jesse sprained his ankle, and I told Jesse to chill and wait for me. So I had to continue a little bit because I felt compelled to continue. So anyway, I went over and looked at some areas and saw a few other interesting visuals, if you will, in rock formations, because by then I was like, this is fun and I'm seeing some interesting things. So
you were doing that after you had this crazy experience, you were like, it's kind of fun to look at rocks?
sure, if you saw the rocks I was looking at in my path, you wouldn't be able to figure out why they were there in this terrain, because I've never
Okay.
seen them. So they were very spacey,
So
if
that
you
was
will.
part of it
Out of this
then.
worldish, yeah. So I played around on those rocks and went back and got Jesse, and I terraced along the mountain back towards where I thought he was, and I looked up and I called his name, and I wasn't but 50 yards away from him. He came down. We walked and found a way down the mountain, and on the way back down the mountain, we got back to civilization, and we're walking along the sidewalk, and a police car comes up alongside of us and asks, "Are you D?" I go, "Yeah, I'm D. What's going on?" "Well, your wife is worried about you, so we're out here kind of looking for you."
Now, do you think you lost track of time possibly?
Oh yeah, it was already morning.
Okay,
It was
so,
like morning
like,
time.
do you remember, like, do you have a space of time that you actually forgot? Like, it's missing? The reason why you were out there for so long, because that's like not normal.
No,
Okay,
absolutely not.
okay, so do you
I had
think,
no
don't
idea
know.
what time it was. It was daytime when we came
Okay,
back
so
to go
you-
down to the road.
so you have a time, a missing time in your brain that you don't know?
Right,
well,
because it was already morning.
Yeah, so it's like what, 12 hours later, something like that?
I'm not sure.
8 hours, 9
I
hours?
have no idea. All I know is I was on the street, walking home, and getting escorted home by a police car, and having to
Okay.
deal with getting home. So, on that journey, that night as I
What
was
did he
peering,
say to you?
huh? Said, "Are you Miss? Who, the cop?"
Yeah, just, are you D?
Yeah, that's it.
And your wife is worried about you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's a little odd. Okay.
Okay, well, odd or not, I got in the car.
Whoa.
I walked for a while, so I got a free ride home.
Nice.
Still tripping on what I saw. So, but I know it was made in my mind because across the valley, I saw another mountain with an interesting outcropping or carving to my vision. Said, "Oh, I'm gonna go check that out tomorrow." So I wasn't even afraid of that, and maybe possibly see that vehicle again. So I wanted to see it again.
Right, to think if do you think that, were you thinking like, am I nuts, and that's why you wanted to go back out there?
I'm not
or
sure.
it was just
I was
curiosity?
compelled. I drove the
just-
Firebird all the way across the valley and climbed up this mountain.
This is the next day you did this
The next
again?
night,
Wow, day,
I
night.
didn't pick daytime. I could have
Okay.
done it at
So
daytime.
you went at
no fun.
night,
So I'm climbing up these little mountains, and there was these little boulders and stuff that were stacked up like little, I don't know, houses or something with little paths that went in and out of them. And I got up to the top of the mountain, and I'm kind of like, that's a very
you're
interesting.
thinking that's like weird.
It's a very interesting.
It's
What?
really
Who made
weird.
this? Is my mind going? Who?
Yeah,
Who makes this here and that? I've never seen it.
right.
I've been in Tahoe. I've been in mountains all my life. So all of a sudden, there's
So it was odd.
a little like a
Everything looked very
a little
odd
town.
around that area where you had seen this
yes.
craft or plane, or, well, it wasn't a plane, but because it wasn't making any noise.
Yeah. that
But I'm
was-
sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. So I get up to the top of the mountain. I play my harmonica up there for something to do or be weird, be me, I guess. So I'm climbing around and doing a little more adventuring. I come down this little draw, and as I'm coming down the draw, on a road that I didn't even know was down there because I didn't know where I was by now anyway. I walked and played around so long. Okay.
Right.
And here comes two quads with their lights on. And they go up on, and I was trying to follow them, so I knelt down behind a little, little cluster of rocks, and I'm watching, feeling I'm pretty safe from visuals. And I'm watching them spin around and do their little, having some fun on the mountain, not thinking much of it. A few minutes later, lo and behold, a hatch opens up in the mountain. The light behind a hatch opens in the mountain, and there's a silhouette of somebody standing down there. I'm shaking my head like a cartoon, like no freaking way am I seeing this. So I'm freaking out again.
But it was pretty big too.
It was a big opening.
Like a big
enough
opening.
to drive two quads in it,
there's-
comfortable.
Yeah, we're just going down in there, and then it shut.
Yeah, it's
So it looked kind of like the mountain.
It disappeared. It was dark.
It was.
It was
Well,
done. I couldn't see him anymore.
Well,
You know what I mean? I couldn't even see where, actually, how it had happened. And believe me, I wasn't
So
going
they
down
just
there to
went over
investigate.
there, and boom, you saw this thing open with this light, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
And I should have gone over there and investigated.
Oh, yeah.
This guy today
Would
would
have.
have found
Exactly.
that route
Right.
and tried to find that hatch.
Right.
I'm not.
So.
May have been a little scared, but I would. This guy, not
Now.
that guy.
Right.
I would have went right beelined over
So
that
what'd you do
hole.
after that? Did you
I
go?
ran like crazy
Oh my gosh.
and prayed to
I
God
would have. I
to
would
get me
have.
home. I was scared, and I'm not even really a big God guy. Okay, but I was praying to God to get me down that mountain
That bad.
and get me off back to the house.
That's
Scared me
sad.
that
That
bad.
is. Wow.
So that guy, I'm wondering, I even weigh that. Why didn't I to this day, instead of leaving that mystery,
Right.
So there it was. I saw it. I believed it. I saw it with my own eyes, and I managed to get a ride home from some crazy craft, a vehicle that came out of nowhere because it was that late at night that there were hardly any vehicles on the street. It was a very quiet city at nighttime. But I told you this maybe as I'm walking across this rather wide street. There's two headlights are just cresting over the edge of it, and I'm walking. I see them. Oh God, I wasn't even sure if I wanted anybody even to know I was out there, right?
Exactly.
And as I'm walking parallel or walking across the street, I'm watching, and the lights that were here, like if they're in the right-hand lane, looked as though they were going across to the other side of the road with me. In other words, drifting along with me. I'm like, oh no, you didn't. So.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
So I walked
You
backwards.
were being followed.
I walked backwards again to see if I was nuts. Okay. I walked backwards and
Right.
I did it again. Same thing.
So you're being
Like,
followed.
oh my God, this is not happening.
Did
So,
you think you were being followed at that time? Now after you kind of.
how would I know if I'm being followed? I mean, I was just freaking out.
Oh, you were freaking out.
Oh yeah, that's another strange
Well,
thing.
yes.
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
eventually this car comes over the hill. Eventually decides it's going to come over the hill. So I wave it down. I don't know what possessed me to wave this thing down.
Well, I would have because.
I needed to get home.
Yeah. Okay.
I told him I went hiking and I lost my car. I don't
Good.
know where it is. Will you please give me a ride to my home?
Well, that's a good thing.
So he's taking, I go, what's your name on the way there? And he says, Sheriff. Oh, Sheriff? That's a pretty interesting name. Sheriff, well, my name is D. And so I just live right up here. Not much conversation the whole time. And if there was, it was me nervously saying something to fill the void, okay?
Well, yeah,
Half
because
frightened.
who drives up to you after you've been up there, okay, and something knows you're there, and then all of a sudden this guy drives up and says, Sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Because before I ran into this, I came into the outskirts of town, coming down off the mountain, and coming just into the outside of town, there's this tower, a structure
Right.
with this arm that clicked
Oh, so.
and came down the other way when I passed by.
Oh.
Like a signal had been turned on.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
so I was like,
that's
oh my God, I've
So
been
they knew you were
detected.
there.
I've been detected, I thought. What's going on? Am I in some
Right.
kind of a movie? Why am I out here even?
Yeah.
Jesus, Zoe, I was like tripping. So by the time I got home, I didn't tell the person that I lived with at the time anything about any of this adventure. I didn't tell her about anything that I'd gone through in this particular
Wow.
city, anything, because I was fearful of anything that was going on. And plus, I felt that this person knew what I was doing, what I was going through. I felt
Oh.
that there was a knowledge of what I was doing, so I was not going to succumb to that and act and
Why
say
would
these
you
things.
think that she
I-
would know?
I don't know, something in my head.
I think you were paranoid at
Could
that
have
point.
been. So it could
That
have.
sounds like paranoia.
I know it certainly does.
Yeah, it's paranoia for sure.
Absolutely. But it was just me. So you want to label it with something, you want to do this, but I was actually, Zoe, I was out there and I was frightened. And I did this, and why did I
Yeah.
do this? What
Well-
drove me to do these
well,
2 nights in a row
You were
of
gliding up there and it looked like a cool place to go, and you went up there and you had a supernatural encounter.
and yeah, and so,
So,
maybe I was being called
and we
there.
talked about, because of the military and the things that you saw, that obviously it was an underground military base.
Yeah.
Now, we know about Schneider, okay, if anyone's into
Phil Schneider,
the supernatural.
anything
um,
underground.
Now, he was military, correct?
No, he was just an engineer
An engineer at a military base.
Got
Now, he was a
called in
whistleblower.
to fix a certain problem they were having with their boring machine, having troubles getting through a certain section
Oh,
of
that's
the
right,
mountain.
that's right.
So when he went down there to look, he came into a pocket of grays, very
Yes,
hostile.
Greys are aliens.
And a
They're
major
called
battle
Greys.
broke out, according
Yeah.
to Phil, and there was death, and,
Yeah,
there was,
and they blew off his hands
and
and
blew his chest up.
his chest up, and when he
I didn't
came
know
up,
anything about this in those days, though.
well, yeah, I know, but he was the whistleblower. He
Yeah.
came out very credible, okay, and anyways, he
So-
just all of a sudden happened to die
Yeah,
of,
mysteriously.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
he put on
he's
many
dead.
seminars and told a lot of people.
Yes, he did. He was very, very good. But I mean, I think that is just an absolutely incredible story that
It isn't.
that you have,
I have others.
experienced.
We'll do others.
And I know you have others since then, okay?
Absolutely.
That kind of opened the door, I think, for you of thinking, wow, there's other possibilities out there.
Possibilities. I'm feeling like I'm part of it. You feeling
Now?
it like we're part of it. Like we have stories that. Oh yeah, still.
Right.
I'll tell you the story about
But
why
I
it's
know,
still
but what I'm
continuing.
saying is that opened the door for you to be more, you know,
Open to the fact that
yes.
I'm being watched or we're being watched. Or
Oh.
we're part of something grander.
Okay,
Eh,
all right.
how do you handle
Okay.
that?
Well, hey, that's your story, and
I love it.
I
love it.
I know that I've been asking you to do this so many, you guys have no idea how long I've been asking him to please come on and tell, because this is a one take deal, we don't edit, we don't do anything, and a lot of people are actually
A lot of people's.
pretty freaked out about wanting to come on camera, or
Mhm.
they're thinking that they want to wear sunglasses and hats.
Or they'll sit there so
Which
stoic.
which is fine, okay,
Mhm.
that's fine if they want to do that. However, I would prefer the real thing.
No, it's great.
And D is the real thing.
Yeah, well, it was the real thing, and took me. The last few days I've been very nervous, so I'm thanking her that I at least got to do this. So I have to thank Zoe for her persistence and and getting this out, because we love to interview and we love people's stories. So
Yeah.
why not? If we love so much, why don't I?
That's right. Why don't you share this? I mean, because we have talked about a lot of other stuff, but I want to thank you so much for coming on here. And thank you very much. Thank you. And so that is Dee's story. Thank you for watching, and over and out.